So Rosemary, today you are showing us, or you're going to demonstrate the benefits of the Swimrun wetsuit which you've got.
I am indeed.
Maybe if you just start off by telling us the differences between Swimrun wetsuit and a wetsuit that you might use for swimming or for triathlon.
The biggest, most important difference is having a zip at the front. I can show you here. And we were doing a race a couple of weeks ago and we realised how important this zip at the front was, and I'll show you why now. So when you're coming out of the swim and you want to go running, it can be quite restricting trying to breathe when you've got a wetsuit on. And the thing that you can do very easily is just unzip at the front like that, and suddenly it all opens out and it makes it much easier to breathe. You can see here that I'm wearing a bib. This is a race bib that you have to wear during races normally, and it's really easy to just unzip that front zip there, and then when you're coming back up to swim, to zip that back up again ready for the swim. And you can imagine if you were trying to do that at the back with your traditional cord for a back opening wetsuit, you'd be able to pull it down quite easily, but it's very hard to then pull it back up under the bib. And also opening up the back doesn't give you the same easiness in your chest for breathing that the opening at the front does like that. It's much easier just to get some air and to open up your chest for running that way.
And as we've seen, as well as having this zip at the front, you've also got one at the back of your wetsuit as well?
Yes, so that's so that if you're racing and you've got a very long run, maybe say 10 or 15 kilometres, you can unzip at the back and bring your wetsuit right off your shoulders. So I could just demonstrate that. So this is a little bit more fiddly, but it's something that you would consider doing if you did have a very long run. So you can see that by just having the front and the back there, I can take that right down really quickly and easily, so that if I've got a long run, I can get my race bib back on. And that was really quick and simple to do. And then in reverse, I can also do that. And obviously you're racing with a partner, so you could get them to help you, but the more that you can do by yourself as you're moving, the quicker you'll be, you'll waste less time. So because I've got a front zip there, it means the wetsuit's not as tight as normal, and I can just do it at the back really easily by myself. And the front, and I'm ready to be going again. And I could be doing all that while still moving along towards a swim transition.
Great. So what are some of the other features then with the suit?
So the other thing that we noticed was really useful on this suit that we've got here is that we've got pockets at the front, which I'll just come up close and show you. So here, and the same on the other side, we've got two Velcro pockets. So that's really useful. I've got a full size flapjack bar here, and that will go straight into that pocket like that, and you can still zip up, no problem at all. And I've just got that in there, and although there's aid stations in the races, it's obviously handy to be able to carry a little bit of food yourself, and having that pocket at the front is much, again, with having the front opening zip, you can just go straight in and get that out whilst you're running, and without having to try and get into your back pocket. So if you imagine trying to get into the back pocket of a tri-vest or a jersey, that would be really impossible to do. So just having these pockets here makes it really easy to get food in and out. And also when you're finished and you want to dispose of your wrappers, obviously it's a big no-no to drop your litter out in the countryside. So you can just pop your old litter back into that pocket as well, so that you don't drop it, and it's going to be nice and secure for the rest of the race. You can also keep other important things in there if you need to, like your first aid kit or other essential kit, but you could keep those things you didn't need as often in your back pockets if you needed to.
You mentioned some safety features.
Yes, safety features, yes. One of the things that's really important in a race, and is always on the kit list, is a whistle. So this is so you can attract attention in the water if you've got a problem. Now, some of the suits that you'll find, it's a bit like rucksacks that have got built-in whistles on the buckles. This zip has got a built-in whistle. I don't blow it too hard, but that's just built into the zip, so if you've got a wetsuit that's got one of those integrated, you don't need to worry about carrying a whistle anywhere else. It's just right where you need it if there's a problem.
Perfect. So you mentioned that you do the race with a partner,
yes.
And one of the benefits of racing with a partner is that you can help each other both in the swim and also in the running, if one of you is not as strong or one of you is just feeling a little bit tired on the race. Can you tell me a bit about how the wetsuit helps with that?
Yes, so if you want to do any towing during the race, what you need is a bit of bungee cord with just a little clip at the end of it. And the advantage of a wetsuit that's designed specifically for Swimrun, you can get ones with a little hook here, and there's the same on the back. There's a little loop. So what you can do there, if you've got a tow with a partner, you can just hook onto this. If I was being towed, I can hook that onto my front one, and then at the other end, I've just got another loop, and that would hook onto my partner's loop on the back. And that just makes it really easy to set up a tow without having to worry about a belt or anything else to attach that bungee cord to it. It's just a little extra feature that helps.
And can you wear that during the swim as well as the run?
Of course you can. So you need a certain length during the swim, but again, you can just have this joined together and have it loose in the water if you need to on the swim. And it just helps keep you together when you're swimming and make sure you don't lose each other, and you don't have to think about where your partner is because they're always there with you. But just having it on that loop, it's nice and secure, it's not going to come off.
And what about the pull buoy I'm seeing attached to your leg?
Yes. So I'll just get that off. So the reason I'm wearing a pull buoy is that when we're doing Swimrun, you don't take your shoes off. When you wear your shoes when you're swimming, it makes your legs sink because they're get very wet and they're heavy. And also in this type of race, you want to really be using your arms for the swim and saving your energy for your legs for the run. So a lot of people will not kick during the swim, and having a pull buoy just helps keep your feet up. The one I've got here just rotates round. But as you can see, I've got quite a small light pull buoy here, and one of the reasons I can do that is that this wetsuit is designed with buoyancy paddles on the thighs. So you can see here there's a big buoyancy panel, and that's a 6mm panel there, which is thicker than most triathlon wetsuits would be. In fact, if that was in a triathlon, that would be illegal, but it's perfectly legal for swimrun races. And different wetsuits have different panels of different thicknesses. So this is one of the ones with a big thick 6mm panel to help keep your legs up, which means you only need something light to help finish that off. In some races we've seen people with long socks on with buoyancy, extra buoyancy things down their legs to try and keep their feet up. But you know, if you've got good panels, you probably don't need that, or if you wanted to kick a little bit, that buoyancy is just enough to help keep your feet up when you're wearing shoes.
Yeah, and we've found that the panel, even without the pull buoy, has been pretty effective.
It has, yes. You only need a very gentle kick if you don't want to use a pull buoy when you've got those panels.
And you mentioned that you want to be using your arms more when you're swimming to save your legs.
Yes.
And you've been racing and training with paddles.
I have, yes. So you can see here I've got a pair of paddles that I've been using, which is fine when you're swimming. You can be using those and you can carry them when you're running. But some of these races, it's very long swims, and unless you're very used to training with paddles, been using them a long time, you might find your arms tiring because it's a lot of extra hard work to wear paddles when you're swimming. So that's another advantage of this wetsuit, being able to just unzip at the front. If you find you're a bit tired, coming up for a swim and you don't want to use your paddles, you can just slot them in somewhere, find a place that's comfortable for them. Probably good to practice this, but I would just push those down to the back a bit, zip up again, and I can just carry those paddles with me still when I'm swimming, or I can wear them as normal paddles depending on how I'm feeling during the race.
And when you're running, have you got something to hold them onto your wrist?
I have, yes. So you can see there I've made a little leash. This is one for my right hand, so I just do that. So they're very, very simple paddles, and then if they fall off my hand, they're not going to sink, and I'm not going to drop them when I'm doing things out of the run. Other people have elastic bits that they can just keep them on their hand and turn it over to the back when they're running.
Great. And going back to the wetsuit, we've spoken a lot about swimming. What about when you're running? Is the wetsuit comfortable to run in? How have you found that?
Yes, so there's two things in particular that make the wetsuit comfortable for running. You can see here that I've got short arms and legs. When you buy a swim-run specific wetsuit, often it comes with long arms and legs, but that's leaving it optional for you to chop off. And the reason you do that is just to make it a bit more comfortable, so you don't get chaffing in your elbows or your knees, especially your knees. So it's quite normal to cut your wetsuit off at the knee like that, to make sure that it's comfortable for running. One of the features you'll find on some of the wetsuits would be, you can see here if I come in, is we've got taped seams there. And also on the arms you can see the seams are taped, and that just means when you've cut it, it's not going to fray, the stitching's not going to fray, and it's designed for you to do that. And the second thing that makes it good for running, I've already talked about the bigger buoyancy panels, but round the hips it's a much thinner material, So around this hip area, it's much thinner than you'd normally find on a swimming wetsuit, which means that when you're running you've got free movement, and that just makes it much more comfortable and much more flexible. And we've got that same flexibility around the shoulders. It's got thin panels around the shoulders so you can not only swim well but also just move your arms when you're running.
So how have you found the wetsuit overall when you've been training and racing in it?
So overall the wetsuit's been really comfortable. It's as good as any other swimming wetsuit I've worn. We did a 5-kilometre race in a wetsuit like this and it was perfectly comfortable. But obviously it's got all those extra features that make it specific for Swimrun, particularly the front zip and the pockets, as I've said. But there's lots of other little features that make it good for swim running. And if you're looking for a wetsuit to race in for a swim run race, these are kind of some of the things you could be looking out for when you're choosing.